The massive throne room of the Veltharian Empire was silent except for the soft hum of energy shields. Emperor Vexthul sat on his black stone throne, his lizard-like skin changing colors from green to angry red. His sharp claws tapped against the armrest, making tiny scratching sounds that echoed through the huge chamber. 3 months, the Emperor hissed, his voice cold as ice. 3 months since these humans refused our generous offer. General Mordak stood at the bottom of the throne steps. He was almost as tall as the Emperor, with thick armor covering his gray skin. His forearms moved nervously as he watched his ruler's mood grow darker. "Perhaps we should send more ships, my lord," Mordak suggested. "A show of force might change their minds." The Emperor's eyes glowed red. For 800 years, the Veltharian Empire had ruled 847 star systems. No planet had ever said no to them. No world had ever dared to refuse their demands. Until now. The memory of the meeting still made Vexthul angry. The human ambassador had been so calm, so polite. Ambassador Woojin Kim had sat across from the Empire's greatest diplomats and smiled while he destroyed their plans. "We thank the Empire for their offer," the human had said in perfect Veltharian language. "But Earth chooses to remain independent." Independent. The word tasted bitter in the Emperor's mouth. These humans had barely learned to travel between stars. Their technology was primitive. Their weapons were simple. Yet they acted like they could stand against the greatest empire in the galaxy. "Sir," General Mordak said carefully, "our intelligence reports show that Earth has only 50 spaceships. We have 10,000 in this sector alone." The Emperor stood up slowly. His full height was impressive, almost 3 meters tall. His scaled skin gleamed under the chamber's blue lights. "Numbers are not the problem, General," Vexthul said. "The problem is that other worlds are watching. If we attack Earth with our full fleet, we look like bullies. If Earth somehow survives, we look weak." The Emperor walked to the large window that showed the capital city below. Millions of beings from hundreds of different worlds lived and worked there. All of them obeyed the Empire. All of them paid their taxes. All of them knew their place. "What do you suggest, my lord?" Mordak asked. A thin smile crossed the Emperor's face. "We do what we always do when we need a problem to disappear quietly. We call the professionals." Mordak's eyes widened. "The Shadow Consortium?" "Exactly. The Shadow Consortium was not officially part of the Empire. They were freelancers, assassins, and spies who worked for anyone with enough money. The Empire had used them many times before to remove troublesome leaders or steal important secrets. They were expensive, but they always got results." 2 hours later, the Emperor sat alone in his private communication chamber. The room was dark, except for the blue glow of the quantum transmitter. A figure appeared in the hologram, but it was hard to see clearly. The image seemed to shift and change, like looking at someone through moving water. "Emperor Vexthul," the figure said. Its voice was neither male nor female, neither young nor old. "It has been some time." "Phantom Kree," the Emperor replied. "I have work for your organization." "We assumed you did. The price for eliminating planetary leadership has increased since our last contract." The Emperor didn't care about money. The Ursa Empire controlled the trade routes for half the galaxy. Whatever the consortium charged, he could afford it. "Tell me about Earth's defenses," Phantom Kree said. Vexthul sent the intelligence files through the secure connection. "Primitive space forces. No energy shields around their cities. Their weapons are chemical-based missiles and laser cannons. Nothing that should trouble your people." "And their leaders?" 3 primary targets. Ambassador Woojin Kim, who speaks for their government. Defense Minister Taeho Park, who controls their military. And someone called Director Hyejin Lee, who runs their intelligence services. Phantom Kree was quiet for a moment. "Interesting. A primitive world that keeps its intelligence director's identity secret. That shows more wisdom than we expected. Can you do it?" "Of course. I will assemble a team of 5. The mission will take 1 week to plan and execute." The Emperor leaned forward. "Who will you send?" Silthus from the Metamorph Collective. He can change his shape to look like anyone, perfect for infiltration. Good. Who else? Blade Dancer Crix from Xantar. His people are born warriors. He specializes in close combat and moving through tight spaces. The Emperor nodded. The Xantar were famous fighters. One of them could kill 20 normal soldiers. 07 is our best sniper, Phantom Kree continued. Half machine, half organic. His aim is perfect at any distance. And the fourth? Mind Ripper Yex. He can read thoughts and control minds. Very useful for gathering information and avoiding detection. And you will lead them personally? Yes. This mission requires my particular skills. The Emperor had heard stories about Phantom Kree. Some said he could walk through walls. Others claimed he could become invisible. Nobody knew what species he was or where he came from. What mattered was that he had never failed a mission. When can you begin? The Emperor asked. Payment first. 50 million galactic credits. The Emperor transferred the money without hesitation. Done. Excellent. We will reach Earth in 4 days. The targets will be eliminated within 6 hours of our arrival. What about their defenses? Phantom Kree's laugh was like cold wind. Emperor, these humans cannot even detect our ships. Their technology is centuries behind ours. This will be the easiest mission my team has ever completed. The hologram flickered and disappeared. The Emperor sat back in his chair, feeling satisfied for the first time in months. Soon, Earth's leadership would be dead. Their government would collapse. The remaining humans would beg to join the Empire. As he left the communication chamber, Vexthal was already planning Earth's integration into the Empire. The humans would make good workers in the outer colonies. Their planet would provide useful resources. Most importantly, other worlds would see what happened to those who refused the Empire's generous offers. The Emperor had no way of knowing that Earth's primitive sensors had already detected his transmission, or that Director Heejin Lee was at that moment reviewing every word of his conversation with Phantom Kree. Most importantly, he had no idea that Earth's response to the galaxy's most deadly assassins would be unlike anything the Empire had ever encountered. The Shadow Consortium was coming to Earth. But Earth was ready with a shadow of its own. The Shadow Consortium's ship moved through space like a whisper of death. Its black hull absorbed all light, making it invisible to normal eyes. Advanced cloaking systems bent radiation around the vessel, hiding it from any scanning device the galaxy had ever created. Inside the ship, 5 deadly beings prepared for their mission. Silthus sat in meditation, his body slowly changing shape. His natural form was tall and thin with silver skin that moved like liquid metal. As he concentrated, his features shifted until he looked exactly like a human security guard. Even his clothes changed to match Earth's military uniform. Perfect mimicry, he said to himself. His voice now sounded completely human. Across the ship's main cabin, Blade Dancer Crix sharpened his weapons. The Xantar warrior was built like a machine for killing. His muscles were dense as stone, his reflexes faster than a striking snake. Forearms moved in perfect coordination as he polished his curved blades. Soft humans, Crix growled. This will be over in minutes. 07 stood at the weapon rack, checking his sniper rifle. Half his body was machine now, replaced after injuries in previous missions. His left eye glowed with targeting data. His right arm was a precision instrument capable of hitting a coin from 5 kilometers away. Target analysis complete, he announced in his mechanical voice. Wind patterns calculated. Gravity differential measured. All variables accounted for. Mind Ripper Yex floated near the ship's center, his large head pulsing with psychic energy. His species had evolved beyond physical bodies, existing mostly as pure thought. What remained of his body was pale and thin, but his mental powers could crush minds like paper. I sense 3 billion human thoughts, Yex said, his voice echoing strangely. So simple, so easy to manipulate. Phantom Kree watched his team from the shadows. Even here, among allies, his form was hard to see clearly. He seemed to exist between light and darkness, never quite solid, never quite gone. Remember, he told them, we strike at dawn. Earth's council meets in 6 hours. Kill the targets quickly and cleanly. Leave no evidence. The ship approached Earth's outer sensor network. These primitive detection systems should not even notice their passage. The Empire's intelligence reported that Earth's technology was at least 200 years behind galactic standards. But something was wrong. Deep beneath the mountains of South Korea, alarm systems began to sound. In a facility that did not exist on any official map, Dr. Junho Choi stared at his screens in amazement. "Director Lee," he called, his voice tight with excitement. "You need to see this." Director Heejin Lee walked quickly to the science station. She was a small woman with sharp eyes that missed nothing. For 5 years she had been preparing for this exact moment. "What am I looking at, Junho?" she asked. "Quantum distortion signatures," Dr. Choi explained, pointing at the strange patterns on his monitor. "Something big just entered our sensor range. Something using technology that bends space around itself." Heejin felt her heart beat faster. "Are you certain?" "Absolutely. The quantum field displacement is massive. Whatever this is, it's trying very hard not to be seen." Dr. Choi had spent years developing Earth's quantum sensor network. While other nations built bigger missiles and stronger shields, he had worked on detecting things that did not want to be detected. His theory was simple. If aliens existed, they would have better hiding technology than Earth had finding technology, unless Earth thought differently. "How many ships?" Hyojin asked. "One, large enough for a small crew, moving toward Earth at high speed." Hyojin nodded slowly. "Time to arrival?" 18 hours. She walked to her private office and locked the door. From a secure drawer, she pulled out a communication device that looked like an ordinary cell phone. She typed a single message. "The shadow falls at dawn." The reply came instantly. "I see it." In a quiet apartment building in Seoul, Kyung-Soo Nam put down his teacup and stood up slowly. To anyone watching, he looked like a perfectly ordinary man. Average height, average build, wearing simple clothes. His neighbors knew him as a librarian who kept to himself and never caused trouble. They had no idea they lived next to the most dangerous human on Earth. Kyung-Soo walked to his closet and pushed aside the normal clothes. Behind them was a hidden panel. Inside were items that looked like museum pieces, black cloth, traditional tools, and weapons that seemed ancient compared to Earth's modern military equipment. But these were not museum pieces. They were working tools maintained and perfected over 8 centuries of continuous use. His grandfather had taught him the old ways. His grandfather's grandfather had taught those before him. The knowledge passed down through generations was not about supernatural powers or magical abilities. It was about understanding the human body, the human mind, and how to use both perfectly. Kyung-Soo could control his heartbeat, his breathing, his body temperature. He could move without sound, hide without technology, and strike without warning. Most importantly, he could think in ways that others could not predict. He had studied the Galaxy Empire for 3 years, ever since Earth's first contact. He knew their military tactics, their technology, their psychology. He had prepared for this day. The assassins coming to Earth were skilled and dangerous, but they would think like warriors from an advanced civilization. They would rely on their superior technology and expect primitive human responses. They would not expect someone who fought like a shadow from Earth's ancient past. Kyung-Soo began his preparation ritual. First, meditation to calm his mind and focus his thoughts. Then, physical exercises to prepare his body for combat. Finally, he studied the building plans that Director Hyojin had sent to his secure tablet. The Earth Council would meet in the Global Defense Building in Geneva. 15 floors, multiple entrances, hundreds of rooms. The perfect place for assassins to hide and strike. It was also the perfect place for a hunt. As night fell, Kyung-Soo packed his equipment. Everything fit into a small backpack that looked like something a student might carry. No metal weapons that scanners could detect, no electronics that could be traced. Nothing that would mark him as anything more than an ordinary traveler. He looked at himself in the mirror one last time. Average. Forgettable. Harmless. Perfect. At the same time, the Shadow Consortium's ship entered Earth's atmosphere. Their cloaking systems worked flawlessly. Earth's primitive air defense never detected them. They landed in a remote forest exactly as planned. Too easy, Blade Dancer Crix complained as they left their ship. These humans are not even a challenge. Phantom Kree said nothing. Something felt wrong, but he could not identify what. Earth seemed exactly as primitive as the intelligence reports claimed. So why did he feel like they were walking into a trap? The assassins moved toward Geneva, confident in their superiority. They had no way of knowing that their every step was being tracked by quantum sensors they could not detect. And they had no idea that Earth's response was already moving to intercept them. The hunt was about to begin. Dawn broke over Geneva as the Earth Council prepared for their emergency meeting. Inside the Global Defense Building, security guards checked every entrance while diplomats hurried through the halls. No one knew that 5 deadly aliens were already inside. The Shadow Consortium had moved perfectly. Their plan was flawless. Silthus walked through the main lobby wearing the face of Captain Morris, a security guard who was supposed to be on duty. The real Captain Morris was unconscious in a supply closet, alive but forgotten. Silthus smiled as he passed other guards who nodded respectfully at their colleague. 3 floors above, Null 7 had positioned himself in an empty office. His sniper rifle was assembled and ready. Through the window, he could see directly into the council chamber, where Earth's leaders would soon gather. The shot would be simple. 1 trigger pull to eliminate Ambassador Woo Jin Kim, then 2 more for the other targets. Blade Dancer Crix moved through the ventilation system like a deadly snake. His 4 arms and flexible body made him perfect for tight spaces. Soon he would drop into the council chamber and finish anyone the sniper missed. Mind Ripper Yex sat in a maintenance room. His consciousness spread throughout the building. He could sense every human mind, reading their simple thoughts and making sure no one noticed anything unusual. Phantom Kree coordinated the attack from the building's sub-basement. In 10 minutes, Earth's leadership would be dead and the mission would be complete. But something was wrong. Silthus was walking down a corridor that should have led to the council chamber. He had memorized the building plans perfectly. But somehow, he found himself in a dead-end hallway with no exits. He backtracked and tried again, but the same thing happened. Impossible, he muttered, checking his portable scanner. According to the device, he was exactly where he should be. The lights flickered once, then returned to normal. When Silthus looked up, a human stood at the far end of the hallway. The man was completely ordinary looking. Average height, simple, clothes, nothing threatening about him at all. "You are lost," the human said quietly. Silthus laughed and let his true form show. His body stretched and changed until he towered over the human, his silver skin gleaming with alien strength. "Foolish primitive," Silthus hissed. "Do you know what I am?" "Yes," Kyung-soo said. "You are someone who does not understand human buildings." Before Silthus could respond, the human moved. Not fast like in action movies, but with perfect efficiency. He stepped to the side as Silthus lunged forward, then touched 2 specific points on the alien's neck. Silthus crashed to the floor, paralyzed. His shape-shifting abilities were useless because Kyung-soo had found the nerve centers that were the same in most humanoid species. "Your biology is not as different as you think," Kyung-soo said softly as he tied up the unconscious alien. 3 floors up, Null 7 was becoming concerned. He had lost radio contact with Silthus. His targeting computer showed perfect conditions for the shot, but something felt wrong. He activated his thermal imaging to scan the building. Nothing unusual appeared on his screens. His motion detectors remained silent, but his enhanced senses, part organic and part machine, detected something his instruments could not. Someone was climbing the outside of the building. Null 7 turned to the window, but saw nothing. His scanners showed empty air. Yet the feeling grew stronger with each passing second. When the window opened behind him, Null 7 spun around with mechanical precision. His reflexes were faster than any organic being. His targeting system locked onto the threat in milliseconds, but there was nothing there. "Looking for me?" asked a voice from directly beside him. Null 7's head snapped to the left. The human stood there calmly, somehow having crossed the room without triggering any sensors. "Impossible," Null 7's mechanical voice stated. "My systems detect all movement." "Your systems detect what they expect to detect," Kyung-soo replied. Null 7 raised his weapon, but the human had already moved. Not superhuman speed, just perfect timing. As the cyborg's arm came up, Kyung-soo stepped inside his reach and pressed specific points on the alien's cybernetic spine. The mechanical parts of Null 7's body shut down instantly. The organic parts followed a second later, as Kyung-soo found the right pressure points to render him unconscious. "Technology is only as good as the person using it," Kyung-soo said as he secured the fallen sniper. In the ventilation system, Blade Dancer Crix was becoming frustrated. The ductwork seemed to change around him. Passages that should lead one direction somehow took him somewhere else. Air currents behaved strangely, carrying sounds in the wrong directions. He had been crawling through these tunnels for 20 minutes and was no closer to his target. Worse, he kept hearing soft noises behind him. When he turned to look, nothing was there. The proud warrior decided to take direct action. Using his immense strength, Crix punched through the ductwork and dropped into a storage room. He would find his own path to the targets. But when he landed, he was not alone. The human stood in the corner as if he had been waiting there for hours. "You move well for someone so large," Kyung-soo observed. Crix roared and attacked with all four arms. His blades moved faster than human eyes should be able to follow. He was a master warrior, trained from birth to kill efficiently. But the human was not where Crix expected him to be. Each strike missed by centimeters. The confined space that should have been an advantage for the warrior became a trap as Kyung-soo used the walls and ceiling to move in 3 dimensions. "Too much anger," Kyung-soo said as he avoided another series of strikes. "Anger makes you predictable." Crix's attacks became wilder, more desperate. His size and strength meant nothing if he could not hit his target. Finally, exhausted and overextended, he left himself open for a split second. Kyung-soo struck once, precisely at a spot between Crix's shoulder blades. The alien warrior collapsed like his strings had been cut. "Even warriors need to breathe," Kyung-soo explained to the unconscious form. In the maintenance room, Mind Ripper Yex felt his team disappearing one by one. First Silthis went silent, then Null 7, now Blade Dancer Crix. Yet he sensed no violence, no struggle, no death. Someone was taking them down with surgical precision. Yex expanded his psychic senses, searching for the threat. Human minds were simple things, easy to read and manipulate. He would find this saboteur and crush his thoughts like paper. But when he found the mind he was looking for, Yex recoiled in shock. The human's consciousness was unlike anything he had ever encountered. Not simple or primitive, but perfectly balanced. No fear, no anger, no emotions that could be exploited. Just calm awareness and focused purpose. Worse, when Yex tried to probe deeper, he felt his own thoughts being reflected back at him. The human mind did not fight his psychic probe. It simply absorbed it and sent it back doubled. "Interesting," said a voice behind him. Yex spun around to find the human standing in the doorway. How had he gotten past the locked door? "Your mind. Tricks work on normal people," Kyung-soo said. "But some humans train their thoughts the way others train their bodies." Yex launched his strongest mental attack, trying to overwhelm the human's consciousness with raw psychic force. For a moment he thought he had succeeded. Then the attack bounced back at him with twice the power. Yex's own psychic energy knocked him unconscious. "Mind over matter," Kyung-soo said quietly. "But matter still matters." In the sub-basement, Phantom Kree realized the truth. His elite team had been systematically destroyed by a single human, not by superior technology or overwhelming force, but by skills that should not exist in a primitive species. He activated his personal communicator. "Abort mission. Return to the ship immediately," but there was no response. When he tried to access the building's security cameras, they showed nothing unusual. According to every scanner and sensor, his team was simply gone. Phantom Kree had never felt fear before. His species had evolved beyond such basic emotions. But as he sat in the darkness, waiting for footsteps that would never come, he understood that he had made a terrible mistake. The Shadow Consortium had underestimated humanity. They had assumed that primitive meant helpless. They had believed that technology was the only measure of strength. They had forgotten that sometimes the old ways were the best ways. When the building's lights went out, Phantom Kree knew his time had come. Somewhere in the darkness, Earth's shadow was hunting him, and unlike his team, he would not even see it coming. The basement of the Global Defense Building was completely dark. Emergency lighting had failed. Security cameras showed nothing, and even the backup power systems seemed to have stopped working. To anyone watching, it looked like a simple electrical failure. Phantom Kree knew better. The leader of the Shadow Consortium sat in perfect stillness, every sense alert for danger. His natural ability to bend light around himself made him nearly invisible, but he no longer trusted his advantages. A human had just destroyed his elite team using nothing but ancient skills and clever thinking. "I know you are here," Phantom Kree called softly into the darkness. "Yes," came a voice from everywhere and nowhere. "I am." Phantom Kree spun toward the sound but found only empty air. His species could see in complete darkness, but somehow the human remained hidden. "Show yourself," Phantom Kree demanded. "Why?" Kyung-Soo asked. "You came to my world to kill innocent people. You expected no resistance. You thought we were helpless." "We were hired to complete a mission," Phantom Kree replied, still searching the darkness. "Nothing personal." "Everything is personal when you threaten someone's home." Phantom Kree launched himself toward the voice, moving faster than any human should be able to react. His claws extended, ready to tear through flesh and bone. He hit nothing but air. "Your mistake," Kyung-Soo's voice came from behind him, "is thinking that advanced technology makes you superior." Phantom Kree spun around, striking at the sound. "Again, nothing. Your people have forgotten something important." The voice continued, seeming to come from the walls themselves. "Technology is just tools. Tools are only as good as the person using them." "Impossible," Phantom Kree hissed. "I can see in perfect darkness. I can bend light itself. How are you hiding from me?" "I am not hiding from your eyes," Kyung-Soo replied. "I am hiding from your expectations." Suddenly, Phantom Kree understood. The human was not using technology to stay invisible. He was using the alien's own assumptions against him. Phantom Kree was looking for someone trying to hide, so he missed someone who was simply being still. By the time this realization came, it was too late. Kyung-Soo stepped out of what had seemed like empty shadow and touched 2 points on Phantom Kree's neck. The alien leader collapsed, unconscious before he hit the ground. "Even shadows can be caught," Kyung-Soo said quietly. "If you know where to look." 2 hours later, Director Hyejin Lee stood in her underground facility, looking at 5 unconscious aliens secured in holding cells. Each cell was designed based on Dr. Junho Choi's analysis of their captured equipment. All 5 targets neutralized, Kyung-Soo reported. "No casualties among our people. The council members never knew they were in danger." Hyejin nodded. "And their ship?" "Secured. Dr. Choi's team is analyzing it now." "Excellent work." She paused, studying the man who had just saved Earth's leadership. "How did you do it?" Kyung-Soo considered the question. "They expected primitive, humans with primitive responses. They prepared for advanced weapons and electronic defenses. They did not prepare for someone who thinks differently." Dr. Choi hurried into the room, excitement written on his face. "Director, you need to see this." He led them to his laboratory where pieces of alien technology covered every table. Holographic displays showed complex data streams and analysis results. "Their cloaking technology is impressive," Dr. Choi explained. but it is based on principles we discovered 3 years ago. We just never built devices this advanced. Hyejin raised an eyebrow. Are you saying we could build ships like theirs? Better than theirs, Dr. Choi replied. Our quantum sensors can detect their cloaking, but I do not think they can detect ours. He showed them recordings from Earth's satellite network. The data revealed something stunning. For the past 2 years, Earth had been tracking Galactic Empire ship movements throughout this entire sector of space. We have been watching them, Dr. Choi continued, learning their patrol routes, their communication frequencies, their technology. They think we are primitive because we let them think that. Hyejin smiled. It was not a nice smile. 3 days later, Ambassador Woo Jin Kim stood once again in the throne room of the Galactic Empire. Emperor Vex Thul and General Mordak waited for news of Earth's destroyed leadership. Instead, they got something completely different. Your Majesty, Woo Jin said politely, placing a small device on the floor between them. Earth thanks you for sending the Shadow Consortium to visit us. The device projected a holographic recording. Emperor Vex Thul watched in growing horror as his elite assassins were systematically captured by a single human. The recording showed not just their defeat, but detailed analysis of their equipment, documentation of their methods, and complete intelligence files on their previous missions. This is impossible, the Emperor whispered. The Shadow Consortium was very expensive, Woo Jin continued calmly. Earth appreciates that you spent so much money on our behalf. General Mordak stepped forward angrily. What is the meaning of this? Are you mocking the Empire? Not at all, Woo Jin replied. Earth is simply reconsidering your original offer. The hologram changed, showing new footage. Now it displayed the interior of an Imperial facility that was supposed to be completely secret and absolutely secure. Kyung-soo stood in the center of the room, surrounded by classified documents and sensitive equipment. He looked directly at the hidden cameras and bowed politely. This facility is located in the Proxima sector, Woo Jin explained as the Emperor's face turned pale. We have similar recordings from installations in 7 other systems. Impossible, the Emperor said again. No one can penetrate our security. Your security is designed to stop advanced technology and electronic intrusion, Woo Jin said. It is not designed to stop someone who walks through doors. The hologram showed more footage. Earth ships moving undetected through Imperial space. Human agents gathering information on dozens of worlds. Complete maps of the Empire's defensive positions. How long? General Mordak asked quietly. We have been watching you since first contact, Woo Jin replied. Earth needed to understand our new neighbors. Emperor Vex Thul realized the truth. Earth's apparent primitiveness had been a careful deception. While the Empire focused on their own technological superiority, humans had been learning, adapting, and preparing. What do you want? The Emperor asked. Woo Jin smiled. A partnership. Earth offers our problem-solving capabilities and tactical innovations. The Empire offers established trade routes and diplomatic connections. And if we refuse? The hologram showed one final image. Detailed intelligence on every major Imperial installation, complete with suggested improvements to their security systems. Then Earth will share this information with your enemies, Woo Jin said pleasantly. For free. The Emperor understood the message. Earth had not just defended itself against the Empire's assassins. It had proven capable of infiltrating the Empire's most sensitive facilities without detection. The assassination attempt had not been a crisis for Earth. It had been an opportunity to demonstrate their capabilities. What kind of partnership? The Emperor asked carefully. Earth provides security consulting for Imperial facilities. We help solve problems that traditional methods cannot handle. In return, Earth gains access to galactic trade networks and diplomatic recognition. 6 months later, Director Hyejin Lee had a new office in the Imperial capital. Her official title was Consultant for Special Operations. Her real job was teaching the Empire that sometimes the old ways worked better than new technology. Kyung-soo, Nam returned to his quiet life as a librarian in Seoul. But now his simple apartment had a quantum communicator connected to fleets spanning the galaxy. When problems arose that conventional forces could not solve, Earth's shadow went to work. The galaxy learned an important lesson. Advanced technology was powerful, but human adaptability was stronger. While aliens had been perfecting their tools, humans had been perfecting themselves, and sometimes the most dangerous enemy was the one who looked completely harmless. Emperor Vexthul never hired assassins again. He found that Earth's consultants were much more effective at solving problems. After all, why destroy your enemies when you could simply convince them to become your friends? The Galactic Empire had hired an elite assassin squad. Earth had answered with a ninja, and the ninja had won.